Compassion and kindness are very important values. A little love can brighten someone's day and allow them to believe again that there is some goodness still left in the world. The protagonist of our story today is well acquainted with that, despite having no recollection whatsoever of events occurring 15 minutes later. Gene McGee was 82 years old and had been living alone for many years, too many probably considering his delicate state of health. Gene suffered from a very aggressive type of Alzheimer's disease that only affects 15% of those diagnosed. Of course, it took Gene a long time to realize what was happening to him, but it would be precisely this terrible disease that would bring back his smile and make him feel happy again and would steal half the world's heart, even if it was the last memory he'd ever have. To better comprehend the beautiful and unexpected outcome of our story, as well as what caused this man to become a trending topic without even owning a cell phone with internet access, we need to rewind a bit. Just the moment when his life stagnated and sadness became his only state of mind. The life of this former military widower from the state of Ohio had been full and happy, much more so than others could say, and yet, now that his life was coming to an end and he was beginning to glimpse the last steps of the road, there was no longer any trace of the joy and good humor that had always characterized him. McGee knew that he had been very fortunate in life, having fulfilled one of his greatest dreams of becoming an Air Force pilot and serving his country with the utmost dedication and devotion for more than 40 years. He didn't do badly in love either, marrying the great love of his life, Tiffany, whom he met during one of his leaves at the age of 24 and with whom he shared a long life and had 3 children, 2 girls and a boy. Unfortunately, the fortunate man's home was now a silent, empty, and sad place. Since the death of his wife from a sudden heart attack more than 10 years ago, Gene had never been the same. His 3 children were grown up and had made their lives far away from home, except for his youngest daughter, Kathy, who had recently divorced and decided to return to live with her father to keep him company and soothe the loneliness in which he'd been immersed for several years. A loneliness that was only made worse by the latest medical tests Gene had undergone, the results of which broke the hearts of all those who loved him. Gene had been acting very strangely for several months. He'd wake up in the middle of the night disoriented, forget to go to his regular doctor and dentist appointments, and even get lost on his way home from a grocery shopping trip to the corner store. His daughter worked at a law firm in the city, and this forced her to spend several hours away from home, which meant that it took her several weeks to realize what was happening to her father and the serious illness that was beginning to take hold of him. When his daughter became aware of the situation, she rushed her father to the hospital for tests, and the results were devastating. "Your father has Alzheimer's, Miss McGee, and I must warn you that he has a very aggressive type. In a matter of months, his condition will become much worse and the symptoms will intensify. Our advice is to spend as much time as you can with him and enjoy what little time he has left on his side." "I'm very sorry," the doctor announced to Gene's daughter seriously. Kathy was devastated and didn't know how to deal with the situation. Luckily for her, her father didn't notice anything, and if he did, he forgot so quickly that there was no point in explaining it all over again from the beginning. The disease had progressed so fast that Gene was increasingly isolated in his own world, and his short-term memory was only about 10 minutes long. No matter what you said or did to him, he would quickly forget and it would start all over again. It was exhausting, but Kathy knew things were not going to get any better, so she had to make the most of every second she had left, stand by her father and try to help him say goodbye to this world in the best way possible. What Kathy could never imagine is that it would be her father who would give her back the desire to smile and make her realize that every day is a gift, even when you don't remember why that is. Her terribly ill and demented father showed her and millions of others that kindness and happiness go hand in hand and can be within everyone's reach. Also, if you have not done so already, please subscribe to our channel and click that notification bell to get inspired by these real-life stories every day. Now, back to the story. It all started a few weeks after the diagnosis. Kathy noticed that every day at the same time, her father would sit on the bench right in front of their house and just sit there for hours. At first, she thought it was because of the disease and that since he didn't remember anything long-term, the old man would forget because he sat there so quickly and never remembered what he was going to do. But that wasn't the case. After a month of watching her father sit on the bench, Kathy decided to wait to see if anything unusual happened to explain her father's attitude. And it did. Only an hour later, Kathy discovered the real reason why her father sat on that bench waiting for hours, and as she did, she couldn't hold back her tears. It turned out that every day at noon, a children's bus would pull up right in front of her house, and a group of young children between the ages of 2 and 5 from the daycare across the street would excitedly run up to her father to greet him. Kathy couldn't believe her astonishment and held her hands to her face trying to hold back the tears. "He was waiting for them. Those children are the only thing my father's capable of remembering. It's incredible," she said to herself, trying to assimilate her discovery while looking at her father with those children. It was the most beautiful thing she had seen in a very long time and filled her with peace. Later, after approaching them and talking to the teacher in charge of the little ones, Mrs. Megan Nunez, Kathy found out that these children turned out to be her elderly and ailing father's biggest fans. They greeted him every day at the same time and gave him the best of their smiles, something that made Gene immensely happy. In addition, because of his illness, Gene believed that every day he was meeting these children for the first time, which made the experience even more special and emotional. The children, however, did remember him and had been coming to him for weeks to talk with compassion and affection and to keep the lovable old man who waited for them each day a little company. Do they know he doesn't remember them? Kathy once asked Professor Megan. They know as little of what happens to him as he does himself. Therein lies the magic of their friendship. For them, it's simpler than for the rest. They give each other love and attention, the only thing that really matters. Why spoil it by giving them explanations they won't understand? The teacher answered frankly. Kathy nodded and felt deeply grateful for those children and for that intelligent and kind woman who understood perfectly her father's situation and his vital needs at that time in his life. But the surprises for the McGee family would not end there. A few days after her discovery, Kathy learned that there was a video of her father circulating on the internet, and within hours it had become one of the most viewed videos in the country. At first, she was not amused that her father had been filmed without his consent and thought that people were laughing at him because of his illness. But when she went to check it out, she was even more shocked and felt her heart was in love. In the video that moved everyone to tears, the old man was seen greeting the children and talking to them sitting on his bench. It was a truly touching scene, accompanied by a text that gave it meaning and made what viewers saw all the more moving and unforgettable. The video was posted on Reddit by user Haunter369. Kathy didn't want to investigate who it was about and decided to focus on what the user had to say about it. At the bottom of the user, who's probably a neighbor in the area who noticed the old man's attitude and his friendship, explains in a respectful and detailed way how every day Gene McGee would leave his house to sit on the bench across the street at a specific time. He also explains that because the man has Alzheimer's, he doesn't even remember why he does it, but the reason is endearing. Every day, something tells him to go outside and wait. He probably doesn't remember why he's sitting there until he sees these children arrive and his soul lights up. Everything makes sense, and for a few moments, his illness disappears and he only feels love, the post said. The post turned out to be a beautiful tribute someone wanted to anonymously make to her father, and Kathy was very grateful. A few weeks later, and given the success of the publication and the thousands of views it accumulated, Megan Nunez, the children's teacher, was invited to television to give a short interview and explain better what was happening every day and the delicate state of health of the old man. She told us CBS News, "Every day I cross the street and we meet again. For me it's routine, but for him it's always the first time. There's nothing nicer." His daughter Kathy said he was lonely before the daycare kids started greeting him every day. She told me, "My goodness, they have been a blessing to Daddy. When he sees them, he lights up and can spend hours doing it." Even though he forgets about these children every day, the acceptance and affection they give him knows no bounds. That's the beauty of this story. This old man goes straight to the front bench every day without being aware of why he does it, she added. And because all he wants is love and, everybody responds to love, the teacher explains excitedly. This beautiful video has provoked several reactions from Reddit users, with thousands of people commenting on it from all parts of the country. "Old people and children never fail to make me cry. Too good," commented one. Another said, "I love this. He has an illness, but there are lucid moments where he can remember his life. You can enrich these children's lives in so many ways. This is the most wonderful video I've ever seen in my life. Everyone deserves this kind of love and attention, and that goes both ways," said another Reddit user. A beautiful story that reminds us that the most important things in life are often the simplest. A gesture of affection, the kind look of a child, receiving a kiss on the cheek every day. True wealth is not material, and this old man, for whom every day is a new beginning, is immensely rich for having discovered it. Did you like this touching and surprising story? If so, we invite you to leave us a comment expressing your opinion. If you want to continue enjoying inspiring stories like this one, subscribe to our channel or check out the other videos shown at the bottom of the screen. Thank you for your cooperation.